Number 16. We can see that they don't have anything in common, but since there are four things, we'll factor by grouping. So the first two have an x squared in common. I'm left with x plus 5. The second two have a -9 in common. And once again, I'm left with x plus 5 since I've removed the negative sign. Now they both have an x plus 5 in common, and I'm left with x squared minus 9. But I'm not done. X squared minus 9 also factors, and this factors into x plus 3, x minus 3. Number 17. So the first step is to always see what they have in common. In this case, a 5. This leaves me with 16x squared plus 8x plus 1. So we always start by looking at the first and the last terms. 16 is 4 squared, and 1 is 1 squared. 4 times 1 times 2 is 8, so this is a trinomial square. 4x plus 1 squared. Number 18. The first step is to always see what they have in common. In this case, is 6. Removing the 6 from 54 leaves us with 9x squared. Removing it from 144 leaves us with negative 24x. And then 96 turns into 16. Once again, this is 3 squared and 4 squared. And 3 times 4 times 2 is 24. So in this case, we have 3x minus 4 squared. Number 19. Here, they both have a 2, or they all have a 2, and they all have an x. Removing this leaves us with x squared plus 3xy minus 10y squared. When we're factoring this, the only thing that multiplies to be x squared would be x and x. So now we need two numbers that multiply to be -10 and add to be 3. So you may be able to see this, but if not, we'll make a chart. The things that multiply to be -10 are -1 and 10, 1 and -10, -2 and 5, and 2 and -5. We can add all of these up, and we want the sum to be +3, which is this one here. So -2y plus 5y. Number 20 wants us to solve by factoring. So the first step to this one is to actually factor. Dealing with this 7 first may be a little bit easier, since the only thing that multiplies to be 7 is 7 and 1. 6, we could have a 6 and 1, or we could have a 2 and 3. The fact that this -42 is a larger number indicates that we should have a 6. We want to deal with bigger numbers. In particular, 6 times 7 is 42, which is really close. So if I put a 6k in the second parenthesis and a k in the first, my outside term would be 1, my inside term would be 42. So if I do -7 plus 1, I now have 1k minus 42k, which is -41k. Since we want to solve this, we'll set each one of these equal to 0. The first one, we'll add 7 to both sides. We get k is equal to 7. The second one, I'll subtract 1. So 6k is equal to -1. Dividing both sides by 6 gives me that k is equal to -1 over 6.